Hey everyone, welcome back to Navigating Gluten-Free. I'm Fawn, and we are here just learning how to navigate this gluten-free life together. Now, before we go any further, Spelt, not gluten-free, right? Okay, but don't worry about it. We're going to protect ourselves here. You're protected by distance, but I'll protect myself too. So what we're doing today is we are trying to figure out what the gluten flours need so that we can know how to change our recipes to make them gluten-free, right? Okay, so what we have to do is we have to start with our data. I'm sure there's a chart out there somewhere, but I just feel like I need to do it for myself, okay? So we're gonna take this spelt flour. We're gonna take a cup of it and add it to our bowl. And then we're going to take our teaspoon here and add water a little bit at a time. We're going to get weight measurements as well. We're going to do grams, we're going to do ounces, we're going to get all the data we need so that we can get all of these recipes. Any recipe that uses spelt flour, we will be able to know how much water you need to add to spelt flour to get to the texture we're looking for in the recipe. Okay, so we're going to take it to a crumble stage. How much water do we need to get to crumble, where we hold it this and it holds its shape, and then we touch it and it falls apart, okay? You'll see what we mean in a second. And then we're going to add more water and we're going to make it into a dough. And then we're going to make it a thick batter, and then we're going to make it a thin batter, and we're going to record all of this data. So whether we are making bread, whether we are making batter, like pancakes, we know how much we're supposed to add of our gluten-free flour to that. Now, this isn't going to tell us how much to add overall. It's not going to tell us how much starch is in there. It's not going to tell us if it's going to crumble apart. It's not going to tell us all that information. But it is going to give us a starting point so that we know how to start changing these recipes. Because I don't know about you, but my family are great bakers. Okay, my mom, my grandma, I mean, we've got recipes. And when I say we have recipes, I mean, they have shown me how to do these things, but they don't really have, they have general guidelines, shall we say. But I want to use their recipes. I want to use what they do because they have such great stuff. And I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I don't want to reinvent how we are doing this whole baking thing, right? I mean, we have to kind of because it's gluten-free, but I want to use their stuff. So I want to use gluten-free flour in place of the gluten flour that they're using. And so that's what this is for. This is for us learning how to substitute. This is the first step that we're going to take in this journey. We're probably going to do this with a few different things, okay? So today, spelt flour, we're going to add the water, we're going to see where it goes. I need to take off for a second so I can go get all geared up and put some gloves and some goggles on and everything. So I'll be right back. And then we will start adding the flour and mixing it around and stuff, okay? All right, give me just a second. Okay, guys, hey, welcome back. Okay, so I've got all my stuff on now, and we are going to take a look and see what happens when we take the spelt flour, and then we add some water to it and see kind of what we're at, okay? So, just forgot my bowl. All right, so let's start by opening this. And just so you guys know, this is Bob's Red Mill, but Bob's Red Mill has 2 factories. So this stuff is not gluten-free. Lots of gluten in it. Or Spelt doesn't have as much as some others, but they do have a gluten-free factory as well. So they have 2 factories, so it makes it really great for us gluten-free people. I actually live in the area of the factory, and I love going up there. Okay, so we've got our spelt flour out here, kind of just about a cup there. All right, so let's go ahead and tear this off, and let's go over to, let's get our ounces first. So I have what the cup itself weighs, And so I can take that off later. Okay, so with that, it's 7.15. And let's get those grams. 202. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and add it here. All right, and let's get this stuff out of the way. So the very first thing that we're going to be doing here is we're going to start with our teaspoon. And all I want to do is I just want to get this to a place where it just starts to stick together, right? So this is just where it's starting to do the crumbles. So 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's start with 5 here and we'll just kind of see. Oh yeah, that's definitely starting to do the crumbles. I'm hoping, now I've done a few of these already. As you can see, I'm kind of a mess over here. But I'm hoping, because the Spelt has significantly less gluten. That's why a lot of people suggest it for people who are gluten-free. It still has plenty of gluten to hurt someone with celiac disease or who needs to avoid gluten for medical reasons. And I certainly don't use this, ever. But it does have less gluten, so I'm hoping that it's going to be a little bit easier to make into a batter than some of these others have been. Okay, so I'm starting to see that crumbling together here. It's a little bit too powdery though still. So we did 5. Let's go ahead and add 6, 7. Let's see where that takes us. Now, I probably could have just done a wheat flour or something like that for all of these, but I really wanted to see what the differences were for all of them. I wanted to see if there was a difference between different kinds of wheat flour, you know? With this water absorption and stuff. All right, so that looks like it's good. So we did 7 in here. Yeah, that's definitely, that's that crumble stage that we were talking about. And let's take our spoon out here. Okay. And so we're at 217 grams. And 7.6 ounces. All right, so let's try to make that thick batter now. So, or I'm sorry, the dough. We're gonna go for that dough. Okay, so we've got this dough here. See how much that takes us through. So I did 5 teaspoons to get us started. See how much that takes it to, and so what we're looking for here is just where it pulls together. So that crumble was just where it starts to clump up there and not very powdery anymore, right? Okay, so now what we're doing is we're trying to get it to all pull together. And we're not quite there yet. So we did 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So let's see if we can do that here. Ooh. I know that Spelt's not really going to want to pull together to a dough necessarily, but I know that it can. All right, we're getting pretty close. So we did 10 teaspoons so far. So let's just add 2 more in there and see what that gets us. So that's 11, 12. And this might really just be what it needs. No. All right, let's go to 15. So we'll do another 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yep, and there we have it. There we have that dough. Okay, so I don't want to really just pick it up and mess with it too much because that develops the gluten and I won't be able to make it into a batter. But at this point, I can definitely see that I could knead it and get it together to form a dough. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and do our measurements. We did 15 teaspoons to get us to do that dough. And let's see how many ounces we're at here. Ooh, 10.00. Who likes even numbers like that? All right, let's see about the grams. 283. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to move over to the 1/4 cup, just because we're going to need quite a bit of water here. In the other kind so far, we've needed about 1/2 cup to make it a nice thick dough, or a nice thick batter, I'm sorry. So let's see what, oh, you know, this one's really coming together already. Okay, so we do need a little bit more. You know, I'm gonna do about half of that course, so about an 1/8, because I don't think it's gonna need that full. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Don't tell my husband. All right, let's do another. All right, so we've got a 1/2 cup so far total from the dough to the thick batter. You know, it's funny, the texture of this spelt is really reminding me of working with like almond flour. It's got like a bunch of different colors inside of it, you know. All right, so we are definitely still needing some more. So let's go ahead and let's go up to 3/4 here, because I think that's what it's going to take to get us into the batter. So the spelt is needing more liquid, it seems like, right now than the other wheat. I haven't done my whole wheat yet, so we'll have to see how that goes. Gosh, you know, I'm really just trying to take it to that point where it's no longer a dough and we can really call it a batter. And I think that we're probably just about there. This might be a little bit thicker than some of the others that I've taken to this stage, though. But we will call that our thick batter. That's a thick batter. Okay, so we did 3/4 of a cup. All right, and get that spoon out of here. Keep it a little bit in. All right, so that's 429. And then let's get over and do those ounces. 15 point. All right. And now let's try to take it and make it into that thin batter. Okay, so let's go ahead and do another. Let's start with a 1/4 cup here. The spelt does seem to be absorbing a lot more liquid than some of the others, though, which is really interesting. So we don't want this one to be too thin. We want it to be like we're doing pancakes or something, right? We need a little bit more than that 1/4, though. Let's see. Let's keep mixing. So we can break up some of those clumps. It is a lot less clumpy than some of the others because of the lack of gluten. I do not like working with gluten. Just taking it between these different stages is, that gluten is making it difficult. Okay, so yeah, this is a thinner batter. You know, really to be equal to how some of the others are, I think that we should really add like another quarter or a half of that quarter, so another 1/8. Yeah, that's more like it. That's closer. That's more like a thin, it's more like a pancake batter style. Oops. Don't want to mess up all the work that we're doing here with the weights. Ah. Keep all that flour inside. Well, you can see why I don't do this in the house. You can also see I'm a little bit of a mess, but that's okay. All right. That is about right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and weigh this. So we did what we'll call it 3/8 of a cup of water there. And we're at 17.55 ounces. And let's get those grams. 4.99. All right. I'm going to get this stuff all cleaned up, and then let's go ahead and chat here, and let's see what we can look at with the rest of the numbers and stuff. All right, see you in a second.